This is Brandon Lee with BetFirms.com here with your 2012 Virginia football predictions. The Virginia Cavaliers are coming off an 8-5 season and a second-place finish in the ACC's Coastal Division. Head coach Mike London has done an excellent job of turning this program around in just 2 years on the job. He took the Cavaliers to their first bowl game since 2007, but they would lose to Auburn 24-43 in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. This team was alive for the Coastal Division title right up until the final week of the season, where they would lose to Virginia Tech 38-0. Despite a solid season under London, Virginia finds itself with some negative momentum heading into 2012 after back-to-back blowout losses. They have 12 returning starters and 42 lettermen charged with getting this team back on track. Here is a look at their offense and defense, as well as my prediction on where the Cavaliers will finish in the ACC. Virginia had no problem moving the football last year, averaging 400 total yards per game. However, they were -7 in turnovers and struggled in the red zone, which resulted in just 23.2 points per game. There's every reason to believe this offense will be better in 2012, considering the Cavaliers returned 7 starters and many of their best players on this side of the ball. Junior quarterback Michael Rocco returns after a surprisingly productive sophomore season. He completed 60.7% of his passes for 2,671 yards with 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Offensive coordinator Bill Lazar deserves a lot of credit for Rocco's production last year and likely continued improvement in 2012. The backfield is loaded as the Cavaliers return their top 4 rushers from last season. Senior Perry Jones and sophomore Kevin Parks form one of the best backfield duos in the land. Sophomore Clifton Richardson will likely steal some carries as well. The biggest loss on offense is receiver Chris Bird, who led the team with 66 catches for 913 yards and 3 touchdowns. Junior Tim Smith is the lone returning starter. Virginia is expected to start sophomores Darius Jennings and Dominic Terrell alongside Smith. Jennings and Terrell were 2 of the top receiver recruits in the country coming out of high school. The offensive line parts ways with 2 starters. This unit does return 3 starters and 58 career starts. Leading the way will be second-team All-ACC left tackle Ode Obushi and third-team All-ACC right tackle Morgan Moses. Virginia gave up 23.8 points and 352 total yards per game last year while coming up with 20 sacks. With only 5 starters returning, the Cavaliers are likely to take a step back defensively. They lose 5 of their top 8 tacklers on defense. The defensive line suffers the biggest blows as defensive tackle Matt Conrath, defensive end Cam Johnson, and defensive tackle Nick Jenkins all depart. They do return 2 starters up front, and senior defensive end Jake Snyder and senior defensive end Bill Schatz. Also back is senior nose tackle Will Hill. While they lose some great players, this defensive line has enough experience coming back to be solid once again. The linebacker corps will be the most experienced unit on defense with 4 of their top 6 back. Senior middle linebacker Steve Greer is an absolute beast, and senior weak side linebacker Leroy Reynolds isn't too shabby himself. These 2 will likely be 1-2 in tackles once again in 2012. The secondary will have to replace 3 solid players in corner Chase Minifield, strong safety Rodney McLeod, and free safety Corey Mosley. They do bring back sophomore corner Demetrius Nicholson, who was arguably their best defensive back last year. This unit is expected to start 4 sophomores, so their inexperience will likely lead to more mistakes in pass coverage than last season. Now for my ACC prediction. I have Virginia picked to finish 4th in the Coastal Division. Quietly, London has the Cavaliers actually competing at a high level in the ACC. They have a lot of key players back from last season, so don't be surprised if Virginia is right in the thick of things in the Coastal Division right up until the final few weeks of the season. They avoid both Florida State and Clemson from the Atlantic, but road games against Georgia Tech, NC State, and Virginia Tech won't be easy. The Cavaliers have a soft home schedule with Maryland, Wake Forest, and Miami all scheduled to visit Charlottesville. I predict a 4-4 record in conference play and a middle-of-the-pack finish in the Coastal Division.